I think the reason I haven't entered into the promised land, reason I, reason I haven't entered into the promised land is because I messed up pretty bad in life. One time I went to jail one time for doing 75 and a 35. I was like 17. They put me in a holding cell, like solitary confinement, And when you've never been to jail and you're 17, you're in the solitary confinement. It's like eternity. I wasn't in there but a couple hours or hour or something. A couple hours, who knows. One time I took my Mustang down the highway. I was about 17, 18. It's a kind of highway similar to this, but more open. It didn't have, it was a pretty long highway. So I drove down to another city, turned around, came back, and I took my 66 Mustang down the highway at 120 miles per hour. And it wasn't even new tires. That was crazy. I should be dead. I should be dead by now. Some of the stuff that I've been through, it don't even make sense while I'm still here unless God had a plan, God had a plan. God had a plan. If you're still here, especially if you made it past 33, God has a plan for your life. Even when I was in college, I shouldn't even be here. Should be dead. I really shouldn't be here. I escaped some stuff in my lifetime, and a lot of people probably have bad decisions, bad driving, road rage. And a lot of this was before cell phones. This is, becoming a daredevil on the highway or side roads or whatever. And that 75 and a 35, that was on a road, was like a hilly road too. Trying to jump and stuff. That was ridiculous. It was insane. If you did that kind of stuff now, they'd lock you up for a year. Because it is endangering the public, Now I know why my car has so much trouble, because it slowed me down, because I would probably kill myself. I lost my license for a while. I had to ride a bicycle for 60 days. And I was mad. See, this is the thing about it, is before you get saved, you're mad at everybody else. They're making me ride it. No, you did it to yourself, If you have a consequence because you made bad decisions, you did it to yourself. Now, a lot of times when you're growing up, especially if you're not growing up around saved people, you don't know what's right or what's wrong. You don't know what's right or what's wrong. You know it's wrong to speed because the sign's there, but nobody ever said why. Well, you don't want to speed because you might hurt somebody else. It's all about self, me, 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 me. After you get saved, you've been brainwashed by the culture for so long. Even then, even being brainwashed by the culture, after you get saved, it takes a long time for you to wake up to really what this place is about. When the Bible says love your neighbors yourself, that's a real thing. And so if you're not entering into the promised land, maybe there's something in your life that you did that you just have to deal with it. You have to live with your consequences. Now, you can break some patterns that you created with fasting and prayer, but you're going to have to be serious about breaking those patterns. I'm mainly talking to the younger people, but at the same time, the older people too. There's patterns that you've created that were not healthy patterns, that were not healthy towards other people, not healthy towards yourself. There's people around you that want you to cross their boundaries so they can cross your boundary. There's all these weird mental gymnastic games that people play, and these mental gymnastic games are games of the flesh mind to get their needs met outside of Christ, and they usually cause destruction to the hilt, Not usually, pretty much always cause destruction. They play all these mind games to try to manipulate a situation or whatever. It's destruction. I remember went somewhere where they were doing the ski boat. Somebody got hurt because they were acting stupid on the water, And I think somebody died on one of them at one time. But growing up, I saw people had a lot of money. So they got a couple, you would watch them from afar. They'd get married and they'd buy these big houses and they have running this business. And then they would be making all this money and everything would crash and burn because they didn't know how to manage it. They didn't know how to live with each other in peace. Somebody would make all this money, they'd start cheating and running around, and it would just crash and burn every time. They would destroy their own self. Man is his own worst enemy. Like this Orkin guy here. I've been watching him since I got on the road. He don't know how to drive. He don't care about nobody else. It's all about him. He looks like he's drugged out or drugged up on something. Anyway, it's always been this way, people. When you're young, you take a lot of chances. You think you're a daredevil. You don't think you're going to die. You think you can do anything or whatever. You got the strength and you can just do whatever, But this is a rough life. This is not a joke. This place is real. And if you think it's a joke, you're fooling yourself. It is a simulation. It is fake, but it's still real because there are consequences by choices. So when you cut off the noise, see this noise, they joke about, like if you listen to the rock station, the local rock station here is Rock 92. And if you listen to that, they joke about stupid stuff. They joke about going to the bar, getting drunk. They joke about the topless bar. They joke about the whatever. They always joking about somebody. They even joke about suicide. They joke about people shooting people, and they joke about it's all just a joke to them, and it's to make light of it. But these are lives that are being affected. They make jokes about stuff that they shouldn't joke about because these are lives that are being affected. Everything that you do has a consequence. Consequence. Together, sequence. So every choice you make, every decision, every yoke, every bond, everything that you do has a together sequence. Everything's in sequence after. In series, in sequence, following after. So a lot of choices you made in life, there's consequences, and you have to live with it. And so you have to overcome it. Don't let it destroy you. And a lot of times you were just ignorant of it. God can take the moth-eaten in years and flip them over to success. But you got to be diligent. You got to be wise. You got to be focused. You got to cut off the distractions. I started to say abstractions. The distractions are abstractions. Let's cut off the distractions. Stay focused. Don't get sidetracked. Just keep hitting it. If you keep hitting it, there's going to be a birthing eventually. Just keep hitting it. There's going to be a birthing. The birthing process. weirdest part is if you had parents to teach you what's right, what's wrong, and to kind of guide you, most of the people who have that don't even appreciate it. They're trying to guide you and keep you in the right path, but they don't want to hear it. And they end up getting in the worst trouble. That's the weirdest thing. The people who have the parents that are actually trying to guide them, those are the ones that end up doing worse. That's what it seems like. I've seen that my whole life. I've actually observed that my whole life. Anyway, let me cut this short. What's the object lesson? What's the object lesson? What could be the object lesson here? The object lesson is, it's not about me. It's not about you. It's not about an individual. Everybody's connected. Everybody's connected in Christ. Those who are not saved are not connected. They're disconnected, so they don't have an identity. So my point is, you better connect up and yoke up with the saved. And don't yoke up with the unsaved, because they're destructive. I should be dead. I should be in jail. I should have destroyed myself, but by the grace of God, He allowed me not to. And so don't yoke up. You know, it would have been nice to have somebody reach down and help me, but nobody did. So I happened to just turn the radio on after college, listen to Charles Stanley, and he told me how to be saved over the radio. That's why I like doing audio, because that's what I did, is I renewed my mind for 20, 30 years. I had a lot of work to do, and so I renewed my mind. And so it would be nice for somebody to reach their hand down, and it would have been nice if somebody reached their hand out and pulled me out. Now, they might have tried. Maybe I just wasn't ready or wasn't listening. It's all about the heart. Somebody's trying to pull you out of the miry clay. That's the grace of God. That's God's love. If God puts His love, agape love, into somebody who wants to reach down and pull you out of the miry clay, that's the grace of God. And if you spit on that, oh well. Welcome to the crucible. It's a crucible. Welcome to the crucible. You got to be ground. The flesh has to be. It's like a pedestal. You just have to grind. It has to be. The flesh has to be just ripped and ground and tore out, and just you're in the flesh. You're going to get the flesh back, and the flesh cuts the flesh. The spirit sharpens the spirit, but the flesh cuts itself. You're going to, everybody. Well, I had a narcissist in my life. Maybe you're a narcissist. I had a Jezebel mess me up. Maybe you're a Jezebel. Hello. That's how it usually works. You reflect back what you are. You quantum connect with what you are. Maybe the reason you had a narcissist or a Jezebel is because that's what you connected with. Hello? That's what you vibrated with. You change your vibration, you'll vibrate in a new reality.